call this meeting of the City Council to order. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Carr?
Here.
Councilmember Panduro? Here. Councilmember Tonneson?
Here.
Councilmember Vaccaro?
Here.
Councilmember Williams?
Here.
Vice Mayor Bertani?
Here.
And Mayor Moy.
I am here. And our invocation tonight will be presented by Minister Arcella Lattimore from the Love Community Church.
Let us pray. Dear wise and loving God, thank you for bringing everyone together today. Thank you for your many and abundant blessings. We are grateful for all of our many blessings today. We are grateful for friendship, for life itself, and a reasonable portion of health and strength. We are grateful for your unending and kind and love for us. I pray that you would bless all city officials and all those gathered in the city council today. And I'm graciously asking that you grant them the ability to rule wisely in the face of today's competing interests and problems, and awareness of the well-being and actual needs of the populace, a strong desire for righteousness and justice, confidence in what is appropriate and good, the capacity to cooperate peacefully in the face of sincere disagreement, personal peace in their lives, and joy in their work. I pray for the agenda set before them today. Please give them wisdom and knowledge, and help the people who work and reside in our cherished city. In your most blessed name I pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Minister. And tonight, I'm going to ask the city attorney to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
You all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Place your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. And now we're going to go ahead and turn to council reports, and we'll start with Councilman Doug.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Real quick, I didn't do a whole lot. My daughter had graduated from Sonoma State, had a big barbecue, and then I went Sunday down to the Juneteenth celebration at Allen Witt Park. It was wonderful. Had some homemade donuts and got to meet and greet a lot of people. Yeah, it was just a wonderful event, and that's my report. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, everyone. We have a full chamber this evening, so it is always a better meeting when you, our bosses, are here. So thank you for taking the time to be with us this evening. I want to really thank the city manager, Chief Dan Marshall, Chief Sturdy, and our police and fire, and all of the people who have been very responsive to the concerns that we've received throughout Rolling Hills and Paradise Valley. We now have our critical infrastructure designation completed in areas in Rolling Hills and in other parts of the city as well as in Paradise Valley. And what that means is that the city has designated certain areas critical infrastructure, and as critical infrastructure, those areas can be tagged and labeled with signs that forbid trespassing because they are critical infrastructure. For instance, the area I'm thinking about now is the hill area over by the McDonald's on Manuel Campos. We've had a lot of trespassing encampments up there, and that is a critical infrastructure because, as we're reminded today, it takes one flick from anything that can start a fire, and we've all, have memories of the fire in 2020 and how dangerous that is. So thank you, City Manager, police and fire, and everybody in the city we've been pushing this, and we finally have that designation done. And what it means technically and strategically is, instead of having to wait the 72 hours when something, an encampment or trespassing is tagged by California law, the city has to wait 72 hours before whatever the trespassing is removed. With the critical infrastructure designation, we no longer have to wait that 72-hour period. So these areas can be cleared immediately. I know Chief Marshall is is smiling, saying, yeah, that means it's going to be a lot more work for police and fire, but at least we have the capability to bypass that 72-hour waiting period and get these areas cleared immediately. So thank you for that. And the last thing I want to say is I want to thank our Fire Marshal, Stephen Conti. We're going to be working together to have our first annual Fire and Safety Day. Fire and Safety Day. As my mother used to say, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And our chief, our Fire Marshal, Stephen Conti, has a plurality of great ideas that our community needs to be aware of to prevent fires from happening, and we need to all be knowledgeable about that. So we're going to have our first annual Fire and Safety Day. It is going to be at Rolling Hills Elementary School in the amphitheater outside. It's going to be on July 20th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., and it is going to be a very interesting and comprehensive look at what we can do in our own neighborhoods to protect our neighborhoods from fire. So with that, that is my report. Thank you, Madam Mayor, and once again, great to have you all here.
Councilman Panduro.
Thank you, Mayor. Hi, everyone. Happy summer. I have nothing to report, but just wanted to congratulate all of the graduates that we've had in our cities. It's been awesome seeing all the graduation pictures in the paper and on Facebook. It's really exciting time. And now that we're hitting summer, everyone just please be safe. But also wanted to just make sure that we as a community know that we have amazing resources here during the summer. Through our Parks and Rec department, we have a lot of awesome activities going throughout the summer, as well as the Solano County Library. And one of those is lunch at the library. And I only know about this one because my nephew goes there. And they offer lunch every Monday through Friday, kids and teens 18 and under, at any of the libraries in the county, and also at our PAL Center, our North Texas. They're also doing, I think, breakfast and lunch for the youth. That way, if you have a youth that is needing some food security, then they can attend either the PAL Center or the library throughout the summer. And that's all, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Vaccaro?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Also, welcome, everybody. It's great to see a full house. Just to follow up on what Councilwoman Pandoro said, I want to congratulate all the graduates this year. Quite a few. I actually had the honor of speaking at the honor ceremony, so thank you, Mayor. The last thing I want to do real quick is anyone who's looking for a good deal, if you have little kids or family, I took my grandkids today. The Regal Theater in Fairfield, Tuesday and Wednesday, it's $1 a ticket. Okay, so it's pretty expensive. Inexpensive, I should say. But I paid $1. Yeah. But yeah, it kept my grandkids busy for a few hours. But it was a lot of fun. But that's a good deal. So I figure I'd kind of say that for everybody.
Deal.
So anyway, that's my report. Thanks, Mayor.
Thanks, Councilman. Councilman Tonneson.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to report that on Thursdays, we're still doing our farmers market. And as the season goes on, there's more and more produce out there because it changes. So that's going to be going on until mid-September, I believe. And then it's been a little over, I guess it's coming up on 2 years. We did some pickleball courts a while back. The tennis courts were in disrepair. So we ended up doing three more tennis courts, or 3 new tennis courts, a futsal court, and 4 pickleball courts. 4 pickleball courts equals 16 pickleball courts. You get 4 per tennis court. And so our goal was always to get a big tournament here. And there's a pickleball paddle. Our goal was to always get There we go. There we go. So some of the people here might be here for the pickleball. But that tournament is going to be on September 5th and 5th through the 8th, and it's going to be at Allen Whip Park. Should be a great time. It's a sanctioned event, it's one of 5 in the nation, which I'm probably stealing some of Derek's thunder, but and they picked us to be one of the locations. But so it's very vibrant out there, and they've got a lot of fun games. So I was out there this weekend, and they played some really fun games, and it was called Pickleball with No Paddle. So they came up with a bunch of different things to play with. We're playing with, it looks like a cutting board, a water bottle. There's Chef Derek R.D. So it's really pretty cool what they do out there, and I'm really happy to have it. Everybody seems to be happy with the courts, and looking forward to the tournament coming up. Thank you, Mayor.
Are you playing?
No. George won't let me.
He's afraid you're going to win. Councilwoman Williams?
Thank you, Mayor. First, I would like to just say happy belated Father's Day to all of you dads that are out there. I know that this is not a holiday, but I know it's a date that just doesn't get enough flowers and notice. And so, if you're a father, can you raise your hand? Oh my goodness. Thank you for your quiet love of your families and your children. So, also, I want to report on an event I attended. I was talking to Manveer Sandhu, and he invited me to the Plug and Play Tech Center Summit in Sunnyvale last week. So 3 days, but I wanted to report on this economic development presentation that I attended, and it was amazing to be outside of our county, but listening to economic development folks from all over the United States, and they were talking about verticals and thinking about their city as part of a bigger county. So thinking about Fairfield in Solano County and what are our strengths in economic development and our verticals. So to have that conversation outside of Solano County and then coming to Solano County, and now I have a whole lot of questions for Solano EDC, and also, by the way, they were talking about their strengths, which reminded me of Solano County, because one of their strengths is their universities, the power of their universities, and the power of their of their workforce development and their economic development. And I think those are our powerhouses as well. We have great resources here. So anyway, it just got my brain moving and thinking, and I'll be bugging you with some more questions, David.
Good.
So thank you, everyone, for coming.
Thank you. And I just had 2 quick things. First of all, if anybody doesn't know by now, Larry's Produce is open, so I thought I would just announce that out in Suisun Valley. And there's a lot of other places out there to go as well to pick up fresh things. Strawberries are awesome out there, and the cherries right now. And then I also wanted to tell you that I do a lot of things for scouting, and so a week and a half ago, I don't know, everything blends together. I went to an Eagle board. I sat on an Eagle board, and our newest and latest Eagle Scout is Lucas Pace, and he's only 14, and this kid might as well be 54. I mean, he is so wise, and I was really thinking of him, because I hear people say sometimes, our kids, I don't think they can do this. Yes, they can. He went out and he was looking for a project. The project that he did was for the SPCA, And what he saw that was missing there was something that the adults who have been there and everybody else, I guess, just kind of didn't think about, and that was a shaded place for people who want to adopt, to spend some time with the animals in there, in a comfortable place. And so he built a shelter for folks, and now they figured out, wow, everybody likes it there, so they're putting down grass or turf and stuff there. But it was just really amazing. He put it all together, he raised the money, and then he built it along with some other scouts. And wow, he really improved that place. It's really something. But anyway, congratulations to Lucas again. And then I just wanted to say, colleagues, that at the end tonight, we'll close the meeting in honor of Chick Lonza, who is Mr. Suisun Valley. He really made Woodin Valley Winery what it is, and then he and his wife raised his 4 sons to work in Woodin Valley and make it a great and the longest serving winery in this area, and of course Suisun Valley. And because of him, Suisun Valley was the second in the entire state to have an AVA, which is a viticulture designation. So Napa came first, and we were right on their tail with Suisun Valley, and then came all the others. So anyway, we'll close tonight in his honor. He passed away very recently. So that's it. Mr. City Manager.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, thank you very much. I've got just one item to discuss and then a couple matters for the agenda tonight. So we're going to start putting out marketing and advertising for a controlled burn. And I'm bringing this up tonight because obviously I know there's been a lot of smoke in the air. There's a few fires here in the area. So our fire department has been working very closely with CAL FIRE and other surrounding fire departments to look at a controlled burn in some open space above rolling hills. And really that's for a few reasons. Number one is because it'll be, further weed abatement in that area. But more importantly, it's critical training opportunity then for coordination between our fire department, our fire personnel, CAL FIRE personnel, as well as some of our neighboring departments. So there is going to be mailer notices going out to all homes within a mile of that open space area to notify them. We're going to be kicking off lots of advertising and marketing on that on social media. And then the dates right now are, the primary dates are between July 8th and July 11th. Again, very small controlled burns in order for training and practicing. And then if for any reason weather during those dates is unfavorable, it'd be the secondary dates would be July 15th through 18th. And to be perfectly clear, if the weather then on those dates also is not in the favor of doing that type of training, then it will be called off. So everything would be safe and controlled, but we just want to definitely start getting word out, now, early and often ahead of those dates, so that residents know that this is planned, it's controlled, and it's really a good thing for all of our fire personnel to get some much needed hands-on training as we go into fire season. The second thing then is related to the agenda. So there's 2 items we're going to need to pull from the agenda tonight. Those items are item number 15 and 16. 15, I owe the council and public a bit of an apology there. I missed that we had failed to include a couple of attachments that had some additional critical information. As you'll remember on that item, the council had previously selected a subcommittee of the mayor, Councilmember Carr, and Councilmember Williams, who came up with a great notice of funding availability and criteria. And then we had a independent rank and review panel from staff members from around the state who ranked all of that stuff. We failed to include the attachment, so I apologize again for my failure there of including that. So you didn't have all of the information that you would need for tonight. So we'll pull that. We'll bring that item back on July 2nd. For council consideration. And then the second, item 16, that item will not be coming back. Abode Services has notified us that they're not able to provide service in partnership with us. So what we will be doing instead is we'll be developing an RFP so that we can find an operator to provide those outreach, street outreach services that we've been talking about for some time now. And I've talked with the police chief, Marshall, and we're going to be, we have, the 2 hit officers that will be maintaining post July 1, but he's then going to assign some additional patrol to back them up to backfill for the loss of the outreach staffing that we would have had otherwise with Abode. So both of those items are off. Again, 15 will come back at the next meeting with some additional information, and 16 is just permanently off at this point.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Mr. City Attorney, any report?
Yes, thank you. I have 2 items to report out of actions taken by the council previously in closed session. Both are Workers' Comp Appeal Board cases that can be found on the Workers' Comp Appeal Board website for the final dispositions. In the matter of In Re Robert Murray, FFL 2200040, that has been concluded by the Workers' Comp Appeals Board, as has the matter of In Re Chad Rowlett, ROWLETT, which is case number FFL 1700058. That's my report.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to report that the application process for the Poet Laureate position has been reopened and extended to August 1st. You can contact anyone in the city clerk's office for an application or go online to www.fairfield.ca.gov/poet. Also, I'd like to thank Delaney Dombrowski for filling in for me. On June 4th, she's our acting deputy city clerk, and she's doing a stellar job, so I appreciate that. And then lastly, the election season is upon us, so there will be 3 council seats open for districts 2, 4, and 6. Also, my position, city clerk, and also the city treasurer seats are going to be open. So if anyone is interested in finding out about applying to be a candidate, the process opens July 15th, and you would need to make an appointment to meet with me and, get all the paperwork, et cetera. So that is my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Councilman Tonneson?
Yeah, I just wanted to add one thing to my comments. I got so excited when all the pickleball paddles got raised. I'd like to agendize making the Civic Center pond similar to the parks, where you can't be there after dark. It's been pretty packed there sometimes, so if I can get a second, if that's something we can put on the agenda.
Yes, I'll give a second on that.
Thank you.
All right, we'll get that agendized. Thank you, Councilman. Okay, so now we're going to go to presentations, please, Madam Clerk.
Yes, our first presentation, Poet Laureate Recognition and Certificate presented by Councilmember Panduro to Suzanne Bruce, who is just completing her 2-year term. And then Bill Way will follow because he'd like to say a few words. Thank you.
You can come up here with me. So I will read you the certificate first. Let's see. So it says, in recognition of your tireless and unwavering service as Poet Laureate, we extend our heartfelt thanks. Your legacy of poetry and community has made the city of Fairfield a better place. And I personally want to add, I wrote some words, because we've been working together on a couple of things. You have, for the first time ever, we had poems that were written and read in different languages, both here in the chambers and in different community events, like the tree lighting, the lighting of menorah, to name a few. And Suzanne was really great at finding really fun ways to incorporate poetry writing with like hiking and painting. Like there's all these fun things that she did to try to bring people in and include them and show them the beauty of creative writing. And so I just wanted to thank you for your passion, your dedication, and for your heart for expression through creative writing. I think that you did a lot with touching so many levels, like young and old, and all across our city we're exposed to poetry that may not have otherwise, because you really try to expand what poetry was and how it was written. So thank you so much for your commitment to the city and to the community.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman Pandora, for that. It's been an honor and a privilege to represent poetry in the city of Fairfield. Mayor Moy, council members. Is it going to get upset?
Do you have to leave? It's open, just saying.
Yeah, and the mod team is amazing. They every time I asked for a new flyer or an event that I needed to do, they were there for me. As I said in my article in the Daily Republic in June, this position cannot be done alone. Without other organizations like the libraries, the Fairfield Sisseton Visual Arts Association, the Solano Land Trust, and of course the schools, without their willingness to let me in and allow me to do these activities, this wouldn't have happened. But mostly, I want to thank the people who attended and participated. My entire goal was to encourage and entice other people to get interested in poetry and creative writing. It was when people would come to me and say, I would have never done that if I hadn't had that event to go to. That's when my heart smiled the most. I saw Dr. Frances McCullough in the audience. She's a huge literary supporter of Fairfield and has been nothing but encouragement and support for me. Thank you, Dr. McCullough. I also want to say that the California State Poet Laureate has come twice to Fairfield. He's from Fresno, but he wasn't aware of everything that was going on in Fairfield that was happening creatively, and he's most impressed, and we're staying in touch. One of my biggest loves was hearing the student voices and being able to post their poems in different venues throughout the city. I had them at the coffee bar, we've had them down at the school board. I actually have, as you were talking about the 14-year-old, I have a 14-year-old who is totally involved now. He's joined the Visual Arts Association. He got up, and again, it was an old soul. When he read his poetry, it knocked my socks off. It's like we do have faith in these youth, and they're really showing us some stuff, so I appreciate that. I'm hoping to continue with the arts and literature in the community. I know that the position is open, and I'm really hoping somebody will apply. I'm happy to mentor them through December so we can keep these programs going. I'd hate to see them drop off at this point. Because we know that the humanities teaches compassion and empathy, and without that, we have nothing in our community. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And then the proverbial words of Ron Popeil, and that's not all.
Go, Bill.
So, Suzanne, we're very grateful for your intense work ethic, everything you've done, all of the presentations, and especially we're thankful for your words. And we have a parting gift for you that we'd like you to open tonight. It was demanded that you open it tonight on camera. Yes.
Right now.
Because Kelly said so.
It must not be wine.
Lots of tissue.
It's wrapped very tightly. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Ink flows from the heart of a poet. It's a beautiful, beautiful pen. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Thank you.
So as a final parting gift, I dug really deep into my poet laureate senses to see if we could leave you with some words finally. Okay. Here we go.
What a treat.
This is entitled, "Oh, Suzanne." Oh, Suzanne, Suzanne, our shining star, whose words have traveled near and far, words that evoke sadness, intrigue, or cheer, making us scream with joy, take action, or shed a tear. Every verse you've crafted is shaped by truth, inspiring the community from seniors to our youth. In countless groups, libraries, and schools, you've shaped poems and lives by sharing your tools. Your tireless work deserves song, but to capture it all would take too long. Your poems displayed in local stores inspired minds to seek out more. Programs like Hike and Write combined nature and words took flight. Words for art, a blend so obscure. Who knew painting and poetry could unite so pure? We'll miss your craft, your rhyming art, the way your words touched every heart. So here's to you with fond farewell. Your legacy will surely make hearts swell. You've set the bar so high it's crystal clear. You've made us look like slackers here. For the ones who follow, we'll sure to instill. They've got a giant inkwell to fill.
Why'd you come up here so we could have one all together?
So I'd like to apply for Poet Laureate. No,
Was that your application, sir?
Council can stand. Yeah.
Oh, you got it, Karen?
Oh, well, you should be in there.
Oh, I'm going to be. Oh.
Hey, you're a poet. Get in one. Okay, smile everyone. Rick, move a little bit, and Pam, because you're not in the. Pam, this way, towards Rick. There we go, okay. And I want to be in one.
Here, Karen. We have the camera. You got her.
All righty then. Here we go. So next, we're going to move to public comments.
Oh, we have one more proclamation,
Oh,
or presentation.
here I am rushing us along.
That's all
We
right.
have another presentation. We can't miss this one. Thank you, Councilwoman.
Item 2, proclamation declaring Juneteenth National Independence Day, presented by Councilmember Williams to Nikila Gibson, President of the NAACP Tri-City Branch.
Here we go. Hello, everyone. There we go. So Juneteenth, National Independence Day, June 19th, 2024. Whereas June 19th, known as Juneteenth, the officially named Juneteenth National Independence Day, is also known as Freedom Day, and is a federal holiday in the United States commemorating the anniversary of the wait, I'm getting lost. Hold on, sorry. Juneteenth's commemoration is on the anniversary date of June 19th, 1865, announcement of General Order Number 3 by Union Army General Jordan Granger, proclaiming freedom for enslaved people in Texas, which was the last state of institutional slavery. And the day was recognized as a federal holiday on June 17, 2021, when President Biden signed Juneteenth National Independence Day into law, becoming the first new federal holiday since Martin Luther King Jr. Day was adopted in 1983. Celebrations date back to 1866. At first, involving church-centered gatherings in Texas, spreading across the South and becoming more commercialized in the 1920s, 30s, and often centered on food festivals. And during the civil rights movement of the 1960s, these celebrations were eclipsed by the nonviolent determination to achieve civil rights, but grew in popularity again in the 1970s with the focus on African American freedom and arts. And beginning with Texas by proclamation in 1938 and by legislation in 1979, every U.S. state and the District of Columbia have formally recognized the holiday in various ways. Traditions often include public readings, singing traditional songs, and reading of works by noted African American writers such as Maya Angelou. Juneteenth celebrations also include rodeos, street fairs, cookouts, family reunions, park parties, historical reenactments, and Miss Juneteenth contests. So now, therefore, I, Catherine Cat Moy, Mayor of the City of Fairfield, do proclaim that June 19th, 2024, as Juneteenth, National Independence Day, in the City of Fairfield, and urge citizens to educate themselves about the historic significance to this day and to embrace our city's ethnic and cultural diversity. So in Fairfield, there's growing Juneteenth events. But Saturday, I went to Suisun City, where there was a beautiful Juneteenth event that was held right there on a beautiful waterfront. And it was wonderful. I've never seen so many food trucks. I've never seen so many vendors. The music was amazing. And the youth were center stage. And in it, some of the youth wrote a poem as well. And they talked about the resiliency of Black people and the Black culture. And then I opened up my book and saw I was doing this today and saw that Tri-City NAACP that organized, one of the organizers, and I saw that, I saw a post that Real Fairfield was going to be here, another one of the organizers, and I know that these are organizations that are doing so much in Fairfield. When I think about the Tri-City NAACP, I think about the work they've done to lift literacy, what they've done surrounding youth, what they've done surrounding workforce development and workforce development education and economic development. And when I thought about Real Fairfield this morning and saw he was going to be here, you know, I think about love. He talks about his wife almost every day. And I think about his resiliency. He talks about, you know, how he made some bad decisions as a youth, went away and came out and soared. He was able to get employment, I forgot where, the ironworkers. The ironworkers, and has thrived and is now in project management after 20 years. So when I thought about who, and then I look out in the field and out in the audience and I see someone representing NCNW and Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated. So what I'm saying is there are so many Black organizations in Fairfield, and resilience is what they do, and that is how they lift the communities, not only in Fairfield, but surrounding. So with that, I'm gonna let you take your space, ma'am.
Nakila Gibson.
Thank you very much. So I do have a prepared speech, but before I go into the prepared speech, I would like to announce that Black love is Black resilience. You hear me talk a lot about that over the years. So Honorable Mayor, esteemed members of the council, and beloved community members, thank you for the privilege to stand before you today to accept the Juneteenth proclamation on behalf of the resilient and ever-evolving community. It is an honor deeply rooted in both pride and profound sense of responsibility. Today, we gather not just to commemorate a date on the calendar, but to celebrate a pivotal moment in history. A moment when the chains of slavery were broken and the promise of freedom was extended to those who had been denied it for far too long. Juneteenth is more than a historical milestone. It is a testament to the enduring strength, courage, and spirit of a people who refused to be silenced, who fought tirelessly for justice, and who have contributed immensely to the fabric of our society. As a member of this community, I stand on the shoulders of giants, those brave souls who paved the way for freedom with their blood, sweat, and tears. I'm profoundly moved by the significance of this day. It is a reminder that the fight for freedom is not a relic of the past, but an ongoing journey. We honor the legacy of our ancestors by continuing to strive for equity, equality, justice, and the betterment of our community. This proclamation is not just a piece of paper. It is a beacon of hope, a symbol of progression, and a call to action. It is a recognition that we, as a city, acknowledge our history, honor the sacrifices of those who came before us, and commit ourselves to building a future where every individual is afforded the dignity and respect they deserve. Today, we accept this proclamation. As we accept this proclamation, let us remember the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who said, "Freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor. It must be demanded by the oppressed." Let us use this moment to reaffirm our dedication to justice, to stand against all forms of oppression, and to work together to create a community where everyone can thrive, regardless of their race, background, and circumstance. Let this Juneteenth celebration and proclamation not just be of freedom, but of unity, resilience, and the balanced potential that lies within each of us. Let us honor our past, celebrate our present, and boldly forge ahead in a future where freedom and equality are not just ideals, but realities for all. Thank you, and may we continue to walk the path of justice and equality together, hand in hand, and heart to heart.
And tomorrow, the Juneteenth flag will be up on our flagpole, raised tomorrow, okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
How do you guys want to do this? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. There we go. So let's
Go on that side.
Gotta go on this side. There we go. Let's go a little bit.
Or maybe the two little ones, and then this goes a little lower.
Right here, Dylan.
Right here. And hold it down. Yep. Yep. Just like that. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Put it up, put it up.
There we go.
Beautiful, beautiful. There we go. Everything. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
Thank you. And that was a beautiful words you shared with us, meaningful, and thank you, Councilwoman Williams, for the presentation. Let me double check to make sure there are no other presentations. All right. Now we'll go to public comments.
Thank you, Mayor. Persons wishing to address the City Council on subjects not on the agenda but within the jurisdiction of the council may do so at this time. The council cannot discuss or take action on matters not on the agenda for this meeting, but council members may briefly respond to statements made or questions raised by the public, ask for clarification from staff, refer the matter to staff, request staff to report back to the council at a subsequent meeting, or place the matter on a future agenda. To speak on an agenda item, if you're online, please use the raise your hand feature or press *9 on your phone. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes per item. And our first speaker is Robert Warner, to be followed by Kimberly Warner.
Thank you, City Council and Mayor Moy, for hearing us out. Is that okay? Good?
Is it on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
There you go.
My name is Robert Warner, and my wife Kimberly and I moved to Fairfield about 4 years ago. I had spent 40 years with government service, 3 tours in the United States Navy, and we moved here because we want to retire, and we really like the city of Fairfield, and we think it's a beautiful city. Unfortunately, on Burbank Drive, there's a problem, and it's with speeding cars. And we first noticed it walking around, meeting our neighbors and talking to them about the community and you know, what they like and what they don't like about it. And then over the next year or so, we just kind of started to notice things. And if you're not familiar with the geography of Burbank Drive, it's a steep hill that goes down to the north and ends on Capitola, and on the south it comes down to Oliver Road. And it's pretty steep, and the speed limit is 25, but a lot of people don't follow the speed limit. There's an elementary school that, K.I. Jones Elementary School, and people use it, motorists use it in the morning to cut through, to drop off their children. I've had some conversations with the principal at K.I. Jones, and she's mentioned things in the parents' newsletter about speeding, and it's really become a problem. It's also a problem with delivery trucks, UPS trucks, FedEx. I'm not trying to single anybody out, but it's just the way it's designed. People are coming down the hill, and they're picking up speed, and it's a blind curve, and it's very dangerous. And as Pam Bertani said earlier, an ounce of prevention. If you'll notice, this street from Oliver Road all the way to Capitola does not have a drop of paint on it. There are no stop signs, there are no crosswalks. And we just, every day we see people flying down the hill, 35, 40 miles an hour, and eventually someone's gonna get hit or killed. There's a lot of people who like to walk their dogs, and also this street has a significant population of people who have lived there for 20 or 30 years, so they're in their 50s and 60s, and they like to walk their dogs and exercise, and it's a great community. But we would just like to know what the city could do to help us out, to get people to slow down, tap the brakes when they're coming down the hill, so that we don't have a dangerous situation or someone injured or killed. And we think that the addition of 3-way stops, perhaps some crosswalks, would definitely help people to slow down. We're on board for any kind of assistance that the City Council wants to give us in this matter. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming in, and I, as you know, I live right there around the corner, and it is dangerous there. And so I know that our chief knows about this, and maybe the lieutenant could talk to them, or a sergeant, somebody from the area, get your number and speak about that. And maybe also we could have our traffic engineer too, because yeah, we hear you. And we have to find out from the engineers and everything what we can do. I know what I would like to do. I'd sit there with one of those little guns and give tickets away every day, every morning, every night. I like the homemade slow down signs that people have put up. Very good.
They're starting to get more and more of them.
Yeah, I just noticed that this morning. It's good, but
We
could do more.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You also have signatures, I know,
Yes, we also have a petition. This is for
for Doug. Yeah. Thank you, and thank you for your service, too.
quite welcome.
Yeah, we'll get going. Thank you so much.
Okay, our next speaker is Kimberly Warner, to be followed by Maureen S.
Hello, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Council members, thank you for the opportunity. And again, just piggybacking off of what my husband just expressed to you. Now, we're fairly new to the area. Found it to be just amazing where we moved into. And we love to get to know our neighbors. We have some great neighbors. We have neighbors that are on the older side, and just concerns started just filling us up. And so we just felt the need to ask around, and we did hear from people who've been there a long, long time that things have been asked about Burbank Drive in the past. Nothing has taken place. So, I said, my husband said, let's try again. A new set of ears might hear something a little different. So again, just piggybacking, we're looking out for our safety as my daughter leaves out of the driveway backing out, or myself when I'm leaving in the mornings, and people are quite in a hurry. I get that. I'm one of those people sometimes. And I find that sometimes also something tangible or even something visual will remind me and stop me in my tracks and go, oh, whoa, that's right. It's 25 here. Or it's 35 on Oliver. I love the sign that's out there on Oliver right now. And it's like, as I see them going by 45, it's like, oh, they're letting up. Again, it's a visual, just something that might be able to be out there as they're coming across around that curve off Oliver Road to head up the hill. When they're coming up on the top and that blind and they're coming down, they don't know what they're going to see. Someone pulling out of a driveway, someone deciding to cross the street because they think they have time to do so, and someone's speeding over that hump. Then it's too late. So thank you for hearing us out. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for spending the time to come down.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Our next speaker is Maureen Strassener, to be followed by Dave Harrison.
Hello, my name is Maureen Strassener. I live on Burbank, and I've lived there for 32 years, so I'm familiar with the situation. And I'm here on behalf of myself and the residents of Burbank to bring attention to the council regarding the dangerous issue of vehicles exceeding the residential speed limit. They're all right. They're flying 50 miles an hour sometimes down the street. Burbank is different because we live on a hill. It's quite dangerous for us to back out our driveways as the hill impedes a safe and clear view for residents when traffic is exceeding the residential speed limit. Action needs to be taken quickly. I lost my cat there. Just somebody didn't even stop. So please try.
Thank you.
Next is Dave Harrison, to be followed by Rosalind Parhams.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council, city staff. Dave Harrison, 2959 Burbank Drive. I've spoken here several times in the past, even though it's been a while. I'm typically here on behalf of my members of the operating engineers, but tonight I'm here on behalf of city safety or street safety in the Burbank area. Typically, when we see a big room like this, we know it's a room full of upset people, and I'm glad to see with the pickleballers that's not the complete case. My wife and I moved onto Burbank Drive. We bought a home in 2016. I was born at Intercommunity Hospital 52 years ago. I've been a resident of the city for a long time. Always wanted to live in that area, looked forward to it. And we learned right away when we moved in that traffic and the speed of traffic on Burbank Drive is a problem. I commute for work. I work in the Bay Area. And anyone that commutes from the Bay Area east knows that traffic in 80 backs up on Fridays. It's terrible. And if you got Waze or some other GPS going and 80 stopped, very frequently it takes you down Oliver, all the way maybe to Waterman, but very frequently right down Burbank Drive. It is a huge problem. It seems like every time somebody complains, we get a speed sign, and it works for a minute. It never stays. I would love to see some sort of a speed hump, and I understand that there's issues with public safety around speed humps. I get that, but as one of the signers of the petition, speaking with several of the residents that live in that neighborhood, if there would be some sort of an assessment even for that area, I think the residents in that area would accept a small assessment to help pay for, to build and maintain, whether it's humps, whether it's crosswalks, something. Like I say, maybe a stop sign at the corner of Kolob and Burbank. Something, but we've got to do something. We had a couple of high-speed chases. Police chief probably knows we've had a couple of high-speed chases just in the last month. One with a stolen vehicle and at least a dozen law enforcement officers right behind them, 100 miles an hour. So it's a nice wide street and it's inviting for speeders. So I really encourage you to do something for our street safety. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Next speaker, Rosalind Parhams, to be followed by Daniel Duvall.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank the council for allowing me the space to speak my piece. I wrote down my statement. I'm not very comfortable with public speaking, so just bear with me. I'm here to ask the City Council for immediate and a permanent solution to keeping the homeless out of the alleyway between the 1400 block of Empire Street and the 1400 block of West Texas Street, specifically between 1st and 2nd Streets. For nearly a year, fires in this alleyway caused by homeless individuals have posed a serious threat. Last year alone, these fires caused property damage to 2 homes. Some shrubs in my backyard were burned in the July 23 fire. This year, there have already been 5 significant fires necessitating fire department intervention on March 24th, May 6th, May 20th, June 4th, and one other occasion whose exact date I'm unsure of. These events have made me cautious about leaving my windows open because I don't know when my house is going to be filled with toxic smoke from the fire in the alley. The fires have me very concerned for the safety of my animals. I now must kennel my animals whenever I travel. Even if someone were around to check on them, I'm still afraid to leave them home alone, knowing that there may be a pyromaniac in the alley behind my house. This is costing me hundreds of dollars every time I travel that I should not have to spend. Furthermore, the noise caused by the homeless, while not constant, is often unbearable, with prolonged episodes of yelling, screaming, cursing, dumpster slamming occurring day and night. Over the past month alone, I've had to contact the police multiple times about noise disturbances, including incidents on May 16th at 12:13 a.m., May 20th, 9:55 p.m., May 24th, 7:55 p.m., and June 12th at 2:37 a.m. This situation has severely disrupted my peace and sleep, and I have recordings from my backyard documenting one of these disturbances. I could play the recording, but there's curse words, and I don't think that would be appropriate for the council. Additionally, crime has gone up. Gas has been stolen out of my vehicle while parked in my own driveway. A few years ago, one of my neighbors caught a homeless man peering into my bedroom windows late at night. She called the police and he was arrested. The current environment no longer allows for peaceful coexistence between the homeless and longtime residents like myself. I've lived in Fairfield since 1988 and in my home on Empire Street since 2002. while the homeless in the alleyway has been sporadic, and without major issues, the recent escalation in crime and severe mental health issues among the homeless has led to dangerous incidents like arson and manic outbursts. Because of this, I do not have peace or safety in my home anymore. As a taxpaying resident, I urge the City Council to swiftly implement a permanent solution to ensure the safety of our alleyway and neighborhood. Also, there's a lot of debris behind La Chorita, and it's a magnet for the homeless. You could Google it on Google Earths, and it'll pull up imagery of all the filth and debris that's behind the store.
Miss, your time is up.
I'm sorry.
No. If you'd like to leave a copy of that, we can leave it with the clerk, and then we'll all have that.
Okay.
And I just want to tell you that we understand, and we're doing everything that we legally can, and hopefully this month there'll be a change because of hopefully a Supreme Court ruling that will allow us to remove these people. It is dangerous out there, there's no doubt about it. We have about a third of all of our fire calls are for homeless people, if we want to call them homeless, whatever, vagrants who are out there doing that. And you do have a right to peace. You do have a right to have safety in your home. And we all feel this way. Yes, and Councilman Tonneson here would like to give you his card as well, so you could speak with him. He represents you.
Okay.
And thank you for your time. And I'm so sorry, and we are working on it. And I agree that alley I've cleaned it up myself. It's a mess back there. Yeah, and you shouldn't have to live like that. Empire Street's a nice street. Thank you.
And thank you to the fire department and the police, too.
You did great speaking. You were right on it.
Our next speaker is Daniel Duvall.
Well, hey there, everybody. I appreciate you guys giving me the time and space to pretty much bring the same concern as Ross. I live right next to her. My fence has been burnt down. My neighbor's fence has been burnt down on the opposite side, on the other side of my house. And I think, just whoever is responsible for that section of alley that's right behind La Chorita, they should be held accountable and, clean that stuff up, because that's what is attracting these people. They have pallets, to build their shelters, cardboard, it's perfect. And all I really want is for whoever's responsible for maybe putting those dumpsters in a, enclosement or something so they can't get to the garbage. Maybe open up the alley, because there is, there's a barbed wire fence there that, so cars can't drive through. If they could drive through, maybe they wouldn't build their shelters.
Where's the barbed wire fence, sir?
So it's right behind my property.
And
it cuts off the alley. You can't drive through. And so it's perfect for them to, build their shelters. Nobody bothers them.
You do? It's not supposed to be a barbed wire fence. We'll check it out.
Yeah, well, that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll look into those things, and then also see if we need to do something with code enforcement on enclosures. And also want to make sure that whenever we catch these people, that they're charged with arson. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Did anyone else wish to speak on public comment? And there aren't any hands raised online because there's no one online.
Well, all right, so now we're going to go ahead and turn to the Paradise Valley Maintenance and Monitoring District. Yeah.
Yes.
Item 3, please.
Okay. Item 3, public hearing and resolution 2024-02 of the Paradise Valley Maintenance and Monitoring District Board approving the fiscal year 2024 to 2025 budget and ordering the levy and collection of the fiscal year 2024 to 2025 assessments for the Paradise Valley Maintenance and Monitoring District. And our presenter is Chris Lewis, Public Works Senior Management Analyst.
Good evening, Chair and members of the board. On May 7th, the board adopted a resolution number PVMMD 2024-4 to begin the process to levy the annual fiscal year 24-25 assessments for this district. And tonight we're holding a public hearing to complete that annual process. The assessment levy for each development type is proposed to increase about 4% over the fiscal year 23-24 levies. However, all proposed levies are below the maximum allowable rate for each district. The maximum allowable rates will increase by the June CPI, which is currently estimated at about 3%, and those max rates are shown in column 3 here on this slide. The total fiscal year 24-25 assessment revenue for the entire district is proposed at $79,631. We are also anticipating about $16,000 in interest earnings for the year, for total revenue of $95,631. This is the exact amount that we are estimating to cover all admin, operations, and maintenance costs for the district. And then we also don't have any special projects planned for this district at this time. So the last step in the annual approval process is to hold the public hearing and adopt the resolutions before you. Adopt resolutions number 2024-02 to approve the budget and order the levy and collection of assessments for fiscal year 24-25. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing.
I do have 2 speakers, Theda Peck and Dr. Mark Carmody. So Theda first, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It's on. I don't want to yell.
Yes.
The agenda report under the discussion section states the new maximum rate not to exceed the original maximum rate when the district was formed. This statement is incorrect. The limit amount set in 2010 was $940. The maximum rate identified for Area K with the slope mitigation is $1358, which was on that slide. An increase from the 2010 limit of about 45%. I'm just pointing that out. Another sentence states the reserve of $1.6 million meets the recommended reserve balance. It in fact exceeds the recommended reserve by over $56,000. That's not a lot of money in the scheme of things, but the comments in these reports and presented to the public should be accurate. The engineer's report, page 5 and 6, state properties not located at or near the slopes have a lesser slope protection, and therefore they receive a diminished special benefit and assessments are reduced accordingly. The statement is not true. Parcels within the same development area, such as Area K, but are located 1,300 to 1,500 feet from the slope and do not fall within the estimated debris fan deposits if an event were to occur, pay the same amount as those parcels that abut up against the slope. There is no actual fee amount differences between these 2 areas. Again, the slope mitigation is not being applied because no reserve accumulation is being collected, since the reserve has reached its exceeded or recommended limit. Nowhere in the plan of control or the engineer's report is this criterion mentioned. This criterion should be mentioned in the engineer's report. Basically, there are things being written in documents that are not being applied and conditions being applied that are not clearly stated in reports. Thank you.
Could you speak to that, please?
Sure, no problem. So to address the first point about the maximum assessment rate, so in 2010, the maximum assessment rate for single-family homes was $940, but there was an annual CPI applied to that, which is where we get the max rate of $1,358.48 for those homes.
Okay.
In 2022, when the district was basically re-engineered and a new methodology was applied based on new factors, we applied special benefit and a new methodology. apology, some of the assessment rates, a majority of the assessment rates went down except for those homes along the slope. So it still doesn't exceed that 2010 maximum rate. In terms of exceeding the target rate, I mean, that is correct. In 2022, we also did a new reserve fund study, and the target rate was about 1.5 million. We are at about 1.6 million, and with this new net zero budget, we do plan to stay at 1.6 million. So in terms of wording, that it meets it, but it does also exceed it, so that is correct. And I apologize, there was a third point made, but I don't recall what that.
First of all, off the record, real quick about Father's Day, thank you for bringing this up. My 7th granddaughter decided she couldn't wait 6 hours for Father's Day. She arrived Saturday at 6 o'clock. Bennett, Elaine, okay.
And this is Dr. Mark Carmody.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I jump the gun? Yeah. So in the public hearing letter that went out to everybody, it stated the 4 different assessments, and the total was $79,000. And I called, and staff was wonderful. They explained about the interest, the difference, because wait a minute, 79, 95, what's going on here? But again, if our reserve is 1.6 million and interest is 16,000, this cries for an audit. 1%? Are you kidding me? No, that ain't gonna fly. And the other thing is that there are objections about the lot sizes and the home sizes. I live in a 1-story house, postage stamp lot, and I tell you, my assessment's twice what 360 is. I'm not twice the size of a home in 360. No way, no how. And at least now you did bring up the closeness to the hill, because that needs to be addressed. So the last thing, the elephant in the room, are the rebates, because you talked about that. Oh, goody, goody, we got 1.6 mil. No, you don't. You got the 1.6 mil. The original 150 people paid. We need 1.1 back, because if we are on schedule, 40-year schedule, we should be in right now about $500,000, which we are. We're good. The 150 of us will pay for that. But now there's 101.1 million to go. Bringing in, we now will have 288 members. If we all paid 140 a year, we'd be right on board to keep that going toward 1.6 in 40 years, which was meant to be originally. Thank you for your time. Thank you. I don't have it. I know composers' birthdays today. I checked, so.
None?
There was one yesterday. Stravinsky was yesterday.
Stravinsky, my
yesterday.
favorite.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yesterday was his birthday.
Oh, you should have called me yesterday. You're fired. All right.
Okay, did anyone else wish to speak on item 3? No? Okay.
All right, then. So I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing, and I will entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2024-02. So moved. A second? Yes.
I just wanted to ask a question. So are these discrepancies in these documents, do you agree that there are discrepancies in these documents? Could the documents be more accurate?
In terms of the wording, as far as meet or exceeds the reserve amount, yes, that could have been more accurate, although some of the other items that were pointed out at this point, I can't say that we're in agreement. We were directed by council, or excuse me, the board, at the May meeting, I believe it was, to come back on July 16th to give a more formal presentation regarding the refunds or rebates and a potential audit on the PVMMD. So we'll be coming back with some more information and some background on that.
And when are you coming back on that?
July 16th.
July 16th.
Okay. And then in terms of maintenance in that area and on that hill, is there a maintenance schedule for upcoming activities that are going to be taking place for maintenance on that hill?
There is. I don't know the details off the top of my head, but as of 2022 or 2021, I can't remember which year, we did enter into a regular maintenance contract with Apex Grading, I believe is their formal name. So they're going to be out there to do more regular maintenance like V-ditch cleaning and other types of erosion control and things like that in that area. So that is reflected also in the budget, which is part of the reason why the budget is higher than in previous years.
It looks like Ryan was on his way up here.
Oh, yep, he can speak more detail about that.
Thank you.
Good evening, Board. Ryan Plug-and-Even. I'm the district engineer. So Chris handles the financials and I handle the technical components. So yes, she's correct. We have hired Apex Grading and they are on an annual maintenance schedule for us to complete both weed abatement, ditch cleaning. There's some roadways that were rutted out that we needed, access roads that needed to get repaved. So we've completed that work. There's some storm drain basin work that's also in progress now. So that was included as part of the budget last year. Some of that deferred maintenance work is being completed as we speak.
Okay, that was going to be my next question. When is that work scheduled to happen? You're saying it's underway currently?
Correct.
Including abatement?
Weed abatement is underway and I understand it'll be completed here by the end of the month.
Okay, that answers my questions. Thanks.
Thank you both. Thank you both very much. I know it has been a difficult subject, this and others, and you guys have been nothing but professional. I appreciate you. So I'm going to go ahead.
We still need a second.
We need a second? Second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Was that unanimous? Okay, unanimous. Thank you. Next, we're going to go ahead and reconvene the city council and go to the consent calendar, please, Madam Clerk.
Yes, all matters listed on the consent calendar are to be approved with one motion unless a member of the city council or the public requests that separate action be taken on a specific item. And I do not have any consent calendar requests to speak.
Councilwoman Williams.
Yes, Mayor. Can I pull 5?
Yes. We'll pull 5 and we'll take that first.
Okay, and I'll read item 5, City Council of the City of Fairfield, fiscal year 2024 to 2025 strategic goals and priorities. And I guess that's an item from Savita, our Assistant City Manager.
Yeah, Councilwoman Williams, is there a specific question you have on that item?
Well, no. What I wanted to do was congratulate the city. We work, as a city council, we set priorities for the city. And it's a lot of information. It's overwhelming. There's study sessions. There's all the things. And you all take this information and put it in this very comprehensive document, and then you track what you've achieved and also track what hasn't been done yet. And when I look at all of this information and how you consolidate it and how you track it, it makes me extremely proud. And I brought you up here to tell you that.
Well, I appreciate that, and thank you, and good evening, Mayor and council members, but it is not my effort, it's a collective effort from the organization. And I pass on the kudos to all of my senior leadership team members who then work with their staff to achieve the goals.
Yeah, and sorry, and I'm in my head I was saying everyone, but I was looking at you. But yes, it's not only leadership, but it also is obvious that the organization is lockstep with us. So thank you to everyone, all the staff that are listening, not listening.
Thank you.
All right, so Mr. City Attorney, since that was just a comment, do we need to vote on this separately now?
Might as well.
Okay, so moved in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and thank you, Councilwoman Williams. I agree with you 100%. So now we're going to go to the full consent calendar.
Yes.
We have a motion? And a second? Okay, all in favor? Aye, that was unanimous. And so now we're going to turn to new business and item 14, please.
Item 14, Resolution 2024-147 of the City Council of the City of Fairfield authorizing city sponsorship of a USA Pickleball sanctioned tournament at Allenwitt Park, September 5th through the 8th, 2024, and discussion and direction on improvements to the fencing surrounding the courts. And David, our city manager, David Gasway, is the presenter.
Yes.
Oh, how about that?
How about that? Yeah, every once in a while, I think I might be able to still do it. So, Mayor, members of the City Council, thank you very much. This is a great item that most of these folks here in our audience have been waiting for here tonight. Yeah, there they are. So as Councilman Tonneson mentioned in his council comments, upcoming on September 5th through 8th at Allenwitt Park at the pickleball courts, we are going to have a USA Pickleball tournament, sanctioned tournament. As a part of that tournament, the organizers of the tournament, the local pickleball club in partnership with USA Pickleball, have requested, in order to defray some of the costs of them putting on the first pickleball tournament here in Fairfield, that the city would sponsor that event. And so, as you all will remember, under Fairfield Municipal Code, Chapter 12A, we have special event permitting rules and regulations. The special event that they're putting on will rise to the classification of a major special event. And so typically, in what has happened in the past, was when the City Council has chosen to sponsor events, that we waive fees and costs then for the facility rentals for that. And so the main item before you right now is the resolution which would make this a city-sponsored event and thereby waive all of the park rental fees and the special event permitting fees. If that full amount were to be charged, that would be a little over $17,750. It's 5-day rental, all of the pickleball courts, including some tennis courts, plus the sports center within Allenwitt. So that's the gymnasium area inside for the 4 days of the tournament, plus a day before for setup. That is the request before you for the sponsorship, which under the municipal code, the council can do via the resolution that's in your packet tonight. The other request then was one that I had a conversation with Mr. Bromstead, who represents the Pickleball Club. And they point out, this was a little bit of news, but they point out that on occasion there is wind in Fairfield. And pickleball
that's false news.
Yeah, that's false, exactly.
Fake news.
And
fake news, yeah.
Pickleball, is played with a plastic wiffle ball type ball that is particularly susceptible to wind. And so what they requested was for consideration that a capital improvement project would be undertaken to basically improve the fencing, right? So previously, when the pickleball courts were first rehabbed, they had approached the city and asked if we could basically double up all of the windscreen netting, so to have 2 layers of it, top and bottom, to create a full block. We had consulted with a fencing company at that time to see what was possible. Fencing company said, probably not. The fencing is aged and a double block. When there's really high winds, there's a high chance that the fencing then would probably fail. The poles would probably bend or break. And so, it was not advisable to have the double netting. What the Pickleball Club is requesting is they would like to undertake a fundraising effort and construct a project whereby they would have a fence contractor come in, and basically behind every other post, they would dig a hole and install a second post. And then they would weld those 2 posts together. So the existing post with a secondary post behind it, thereby giving it additional lateral stability to block wind, so that then the double netting could be put up. This is not something that is on our capital improvement plan. What they have proposed is that they would pull an encroachment permit to do the work essentially on our behalf. And they would give our engineering department some form of specification that they could review and approve, and then we would have an inspector inspect it. But otherwise, they would raise all of the money and undertake the effort to make the improvements to the pickleball court fencing. We talked about that internally with staff. We think there's certainly a way to accommodate that. It is an additional project that would be placed on our shoulders, at least from the inspection and plan check perspective. And so what I'd committed to Mr. Bromstead when we had met a couple weeks back is that I would bring that in and find out where the City Council was at on the concept. So those are the two items before you. Number one, a recommendation to approve the resolution making this a city-sponsored event, thereby really helping to give them a leg up in their first year of bringing a USA Pickleball sanctioned tournament here to Fairfield. And then number two, looking for some discussion and direction on the concept of shoring up the fencing with a project where the pickleball club would raise those funds. Happy to take any questions.
I have a quick question.
Yes, miss.
So would this be done prior to the event?
We'd sure like to try.
You're going to stop the wind before the event? First time ever in Fairfield. Don't tell Travis. Okay.
And I do have two speakers as well on this item.
Why don't we go ahead and take the speakers?
Okay, first Derek Bromstead, to be followed by George Kennedy.
Good evening, City Council, Mayor, and staff. First of all, I'd like to say that I was not expecting for my Chef Boyardee costume to be submitted on the public record, so thank you, Scott, very much for that. As Karen just mentioned, my name is Derek Bromstead. I am a resident of Fairfield, and I am also the president of the Fairfield Pickleball Club. We're a relatively new group. We've been formed a little under a year. We started actually July 1st of last year, but we are growing, and we currently have over 200, almost 200 members. A number of them are here tonight, and they didn't all bring their paddles, so I'd just like to ask them to all stand, whoever is here, to support this.
Paddles up.
So we have paddles up.
Paddles up.
Oh, she's got a picture.
Yeah, I've got to do that. You know me. Okay, there we go. Gotcha. All right.
Truly, we are very grateful for the 16 courts, wonderful courts that we have that we're able to play on. It surpasses anywhere that I've actually played around Northern California. And we use them for our member events, primarily, also our ladder leagues, and of course, open play, which everyone is always invited to come and play. Scott has come out and played a few times, so we're trying to get him to come out a little bit more.
All the time.
I heard he was banned.
No, not yet, not yet. And whenever I do see other non-members out there, I always go up and I ask them, where are you from? And I've had responses from as far away as Walnut Creek. I've had Chico, Santa Rosa, San Diego, and all over. So there is quite a far reach for our courts because we have some really, really tremendous courts. And as was mentioned here earlier, when we did form, we did want to bring a tournament. Obviously, this is really a prestigious thing that if we can bring, thanks to George Kennedy, we're able to possibly bring in the USA Pickleball Association, which governs the whole United States, and this would be one of 5 tournaments throughout the nation, so really a big deal. We want to partnership with the city of Fairfield. Obviously, there's some significant costs. We're still learning about, putting on tournaments.
You only have 20 seconds left.
Yes, and so we're asking for the reduction to create a superior experience. And also, because we have what we call Windy, Windy is the court player that we don't like to have. In fact, we have a windsock in our logo because of the wind there. So we appreciate your consideration and hope that we can work this out.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
George Kennedy is our next speaker.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members. George Kennedy, resident of Fairfield. First and foremost, I want to call out I have a newly 5-year-old who is at home impatiently waiting for me so he can open his birthday presents tonight. So I will be home shortly, Cameron. But I'm here tonight as...
Happy birthday, Cameron.
I'm here representing USA Pickleball tonight as the regional director for Northern and Central California. We're really excited to try to bring this USA Pickleball tournament. It's a select tournament, and it'll be the Select Wine Country Open. And there, like Derek has said, there's less than half a dozen of those throughout the country that'll be happening. So we're the premier one for the West Coast. We want to showcase Fairfield and our wine country, and by doing that, we're anticipating people to make a weekend of it and make a mini vacation. It's an amazing opportunity to continue growing pickleball in our area, and most importantly, I'm proud of our city, and I want to show it off. So I wholeheartedly recommend you approving this tonight. And as I will close here, tonight Willie Mays died. 1951, 4 years after Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier, Willie Mays was one of the greatest players in history, and he also was integral in integrating black players into this great sport. So thank you, Willie. Good night.
Thank you.
Did anyone else wish to speak on item 14? No? Okay.
All right, then I'm going to go ahead and bring it back for a motion.
Before we do real quick,
Yeah.
I'm going to embarrass my colleague over here, Councilman Tonneson.
Please do.
Because I know he's been, the driving force behind pickleball, at least on our council. So I think Scott deserves a hand here for everything he's done also.
Any other comments? Councilwoman Williams.
Thank you. And yes, thank you, Scott. So I did have a few questions about the presentation. So one is, I'm really happy, but this is very unique. Is it that a organization would take on a capital improvement like this? And do we have any risk associated?
Yes, it's very unique. And off the top of my head, I don't know of an instance where a capital project in this way has happened. I know that we do have some sports user groups throughout the community that have done improvements in some of the facilities, like some of the Little League fields. There's been fundraising efforts where other community groups have raised funds to do this, to do projects. I don't know specifically of, every project that's happened. This one would be, certainly it's going to require some, concrete cutting and, some, I'll say engineering, I use that term loosely, specifications in terms of reviewing it, or in terms of how they would design it. That's where we would expect for them to give us some sort of specification that our engineering team could look at and confirm, hey, is this really going to, sort of stand up, to what it's anticipated to do. So it's unique. I'm not going to say, I can't say that it's never been done because I don't necessarily have that whole history, but it is unique. From a liability perspective, of course there would be some liability. That's why we would be involved in inspecting it and reviewing whatever that specification was for how it would be installed, so that we could have feedback on that and as best as we can, limit any liability for the city into the future.
Thank you. So
And I was going to say, and just one thing to add, when the courts were rehabbed and redesigned for pickleball, it's always been the intent that this was more of a short-term facility. And so I don't think we're, from a long-term liability perspective, I don't think we're designing something here that is, we're expecting to last the next 20 years, because ultimately the goal is that, hopefully within the next, 4 or 5 years, we'll be at a point where we're doing that phase of the Allen Witt Master Plan, redo project, and that would be the full removal of all the pickleball courts, tennis courts, the roadway gets, reshaped within Allen Witt, and at that time, I think we'd be looking to, redesign the courts, hopefully to take into account, anything we can do to attenuate the wind.
Thank you. And then my last question is surrounding the events itself. Extremely exciting to think of so many people coming into Fairfield, downtown Fairfield, going to the restaurants, and so just extremely exciting. But my question is, as a sponsor, what does that look? What does that look like? Will City of Fairfield logos be on the event website and on the documentation, and what is our responsibility, which probably isn't your question, what is our responsibility as a sponsor?
As a sponsor, yeah, we would expect that we would be recognized as an event sponsor. In terms of actually putting on the event, they're really the leads in doing all of that work. There certainly becomes some form of ancillary support that will happen. In terms of the fees that would be waived, particularly for the rentals, the cost of the courts, those types of things, effectively that's a sunk cost. So it's not like the city's out any cash for the courts themselves. That said, we will have to have staff for attendance. So the sports complex, which is the gymnasium there, they want to have, I believe, sponsors and vendors and stuff like that that would be available inside the gym. That does, that is a direct cost to the city to have staff members there, opening up the facility, attending to the facility, ensure the trash is cleaned up. And so those costs are, I believe I'm looking at Christina, one to two attendance per day is typically what we quote on that for, an event of this size. So from a responsibility, that would be, an actual cost to us as opposed to it all just being, rental fees that are, revenue foregone.
Is that it? Councilman Tonneson.
I guess I'll go. So yeah, we did talk with USA Pickleball. They typically, in our conversation with them, pay $2,000-3,000 for courts, and they've offered that. They've offered $2,500 to go towards the courts. But as for I've told all the pickleballers that our intention was to never move dirt. The courts are going to be torn down in 4 to 7 years. If we could fit a CIP in, yeah, hallelujah. But it sounds like we're jammed up. I would like to do this to build that wind wall with, the pickleball FPC is gonna front those costs or pay for those costs. But getting that done now, I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if the city can fit it in itself. But Derek and I had looked at some things today with wires. So you've got some really super strong poles out there. It's the middle posts that are weak. So we've looked into some wiring that we could do it much cheaper, and we wouldn't be moving dirt. So I'm just reluctant to move dirt. But if you guys say move dirt, we'll move dirt. But I want CM to be comfortable with that.
If we don't add another thing on our to-do list, we would be happy with that. Just because, sure. As Councilmember Williams pointed out, there is quite a robust package of goals, and just a couple meetings ago, we presented on the CIP. There's a lengthy list of projects there. So if there was an alternative that didn't require that level of inspection. I think that would be preferred from a staff perspective. But, I work at your pleasure, and so if majority of the council wants us to get it done, we can get it done.
Councilman Doug?
Yeah, I got a question. The extra wind blocks would put the extra stress and knock down a fence that we're going to be knocking down in a few years. Is there any way?
You saying let it fall?
Is there any way we can put these wind blocks up temporary for the tournament or whatever, and then take them down if need be, or if the fence is going to fall and we're going to be tearing it down? I know a little bit about some engineering. I don't think they're going to fall during a tournament and hurt anybody. So I'm just wondering, has anybody considered that putting those up temporarily for the tournament, save everybody some time and money? I just was curious.
We have the netting out there, and we had talked about double fencing that, and Derek, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. We don't need to open up public comments again, but is that in strong winds, those gates, those fences stand to collapse. But the tournament's in September. The winds usually go down for Fairfield. So that would be something, we could consider. You'd be good with that?
Obviously, ultimately, the goal is, since we play there every day, is to have, wind screens there, as much as possible. But, if that was the council's direction, then, we'd be good with that. The primary thing is the tournament.
Okay, Madam Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you. Great report, David Gasaway. Very nice job on that. And Scott, congratulations on a job well done. And I just want to say that I am so impressed with you all. Thank you. Thank you for caring enough about our city to put your collective effort together to get Fairfield branded in this sport as a destination city, because that's what you're doing. I think it's fabulous. And I think it's kind of the same thinking that went into Sassoon Valley.
Yes.
That's now a destination. People wake up in the Bay Area and all over and say, let's go to Fairfield and play some ball today. Let's play some pickleball. So I just want to say thank you for a job well done. And my colleagues know that one thing is that I always say is that people support what they help to create. And here you are. People support what they help to create. So I'd like to make a motion to be in partnership with our pickleball team and the group here, and to do whatever it is we can do to support not only your event in September, but you're playing there on a daily basis. I play tennis, or before my knee surgery, I played tennis, but I understand wind is a thing, it is, when you're out there trying to compete. So, I don't know the logistics of what you all talked about today, but I'm voting yes on supporting not only this tournament and us waiving the fees and putting some kind of wind block up. I say put the wind block up and leave it up so that you can have it there when you're playing throughout the rest of the year until we do otherwise. So if that would mean moving dirt, I say move dirt.
I second that. Yeah.
Okay, so I just so I can clarify so that I fully understand. So the motion was to approve Resolution 2024-147 and direct staff to work with the Pickleball Club to do capital improvements on the courts in order to shore up the fencing.
That is my motion.
And that's my second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 That's unanimous. Good job, you guys.
Congratulations, Jill.
Yeah, really well done.
And don't let me have to come down here and start learning how to play pickleball now. I'm like,
No.
yeah, I mean, like, George Kennedy standing up to challenge me. Are you serious right now? Okay, let's go.
Are you serious right now?
Okay. All right.
Darn tootin'.
Great job, everyone.
All right,
Great
guys.
job.
Go Fairfield. All right. Thank you all. It is. You are not old. Stop that. Yeah. Thank you all. Take care. So now we are going to,
Item 17.
yes, that's the one.
Item 17, first reading and introduction of ordinance. Maybe I'll wait 1 minute.
There's a lot of pickleballers. I like it. Like it very much.
Okay, item
I like it that they're
17.
coming and
First
blending.
reading and introduction of ordinance 2024-03 of the City Council of the City of Fairfield, authorizing an amendment to the contract between the City of Fairfield and the Board of Administration of the California Public Employees Retirement System, CalPERS. And our presenter is Farbode Peruzman, our Director of Human Resources, sorry.
We are in the human services, actually. Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. I will try to make this as quick and painless as possible because I know we all love the IRS so much. So just as a recap, the last time we changed the contract with the city and CalPERS was in 2012. And as you recall, that was a tumultuous time. There was a lot of financial issues, and we had to get our employees to help us pay for some of the pension costs. And we did that, and they agreed to pick up not only their own portion, but 2.5% of the employer's portion, a little bit different between fire and police. But the CalPERS contract then had an amortization table that changed that cost share amount, as you can see, going down. Now, that didn't mean the employees were paying less. That means that that other portion was supposed to be taxable. So we need to match the CalPERS contract with the MOU language, with the current MOU language. If we don't, that infinitesimal portion is taxable. I know, it is unbelievable, but unfortunately very true. We started out, we actually called CalPERS staff and they instructed us on how to do all this stuff. We had to get side letters with all the bargaining units. We had to have resolutions for the unrepresented folks like yours truly and other members of the executive staff and management staff. And tonight, we need to have the first reading of the ordinance where you hopefully allow the city manager to enter into this change, this amendment. So the amendment has to be done through ordinance. So after tonight, we have already started talking to our employees. This is only a portion of our employees, classic members of the CalPERS system. They're going to make their election, because not only do we have to do all of this, but each employee gets to vote on this change. So from the 19th to the 26th of June, we're going to have this vote. On July 16th would be the second reading of the ordinance, final reading of the ordinance. August 15th would be obviously the effective date because it's 30 days after. And 8 days after that, CalPERS will amend our contract. And I am here for any questions you may have. Otherwise, thank you and have a very good night.
You get a gold star on your forehead tonight for making that zippity-doo-dah.
I have a large forehead, so I hope
Yeah,
it's big.
no. My, oh my, what a wonderful day. Okay, okay, I'm going to open the public hearing.
I don't have any speakers. Did anyone wish to speak? about this item? No.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and close that public hearing, and I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
Moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
That was unanimous, and thank you very much. Now we'll move on to item 18, please.
Item 18, public hearing and resolution 2024-149 of the City Council of the City of Fairfield approving the fiscal year 2024 to 2025 engineers report, confirming the boundaries and assessment and ordering the levy and collection of assessments for the Smith Ranch Assessment District. And again, our presenter is Chris Lewis, Public Works Senior Management Analyst.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. This one's a pretty quick one for you tonight. I don't have a presentation. Oh, I'm sorry.
You need to make an announcement?
I'm sorry.
He has a conflict of interest, so he's stepping out.
Okay, and just for the record, that's Councilmember Vaccaro.
That's Councilman Vaccaro.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Before you tonight is Resolution 2024-149, approving the fiscal year 24-25 assessments for the Smith Ranch Assessment District. This district was established in 1986 to fund capital maintenance and improvement projects for streets, storm drains, and other infrastructure within the Rancho Solano community. The 24-25 assessments are proposed at the rate of $325 per parcel, which does not exceed the maximum allowable assessment rate of $395 per parcel. On May 7th, Council adopted Resolution 2024-89 granting preliminary approval of these assessments, and the final step in the annual process is to conduct the public hearing and adopt the resolutions before you. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing.
No speakers.
Nobody wants to speak on this item. I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. That was unanimous with Councilman Vaccaro stepped out. Now he can come back in. Here he comes.
Okay, item 19, public hearing and resolutions 2024-150 through 2024-167 of the City Council of the City of Fairfield approving the fiscal year 2024 to 2025 engineers reports, confirming the fiscal year 2024 to 2025 diagrams and assessments, and ordering the fiscal year 2024 to 2025 improvements for landscaping and lighting maintenance districts number 1 Gateway, number 3 Waterman Highlands, number 5 Smith Ranch, number 6 Pepper Tree, number 7 Rolling Hills, number 8 Collab Estates, number 10 Southbrook, number 11 Paradise Valley North, number 12 Downtown Business District, number 13 North Cordelia, number 14 Woodlake, number 15 Goldridge, number 16 Creekside at Cordelia, number 17 Chadbourne Beck Cordelia, number 18 Goldridge Park, number 19 Corporate Commons, number 2023-1 Gateway, and number 2023-11 Paradise Valley. And again, our presenter is Chris Lewis.
And Madam Mayor, this can be done in one motion if you want.
It can. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, this one is just a tad longer, but just for the record. All right, good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. On May 7th, the Council initiated the process to approve the fiscal year 24-25 assessments for all 18 of the city's landscape and lighting maintenance districts. And the final step is to hold the public hearing and adopt the resolutions to approve the engineers' reports, budgets, and assessments for 24-25. So the specific levy amounts, there's quite a few of them, but they are detailed in the staff report. I won't go over every single one of them. But for generally speaking, the levies for 13 of the 18 districts are proposed at the maximum allowable rates. So districts 1, Gateway, and districts 11, those districts exist only to repay a general fund loan that was issued to them in 2023, because as if you recall, those services are now being provided by our 2 newest LLMDs, 2023-1 and 2023-11, which were created last year. And then districts 14 Woodlake, 15 Goldridge, and 18 Goldridge Park, those are all relatively newer districts, so their max rates had a CPI built in. They also have a very healthy fund balance, so there's really no need to collect the max rates in those districts. Speaking of fund balances, though, there are some districts that will be relying on their fund balances to support regular services in fiscal year 24-25. So in simple terms, they will be spending more than the revenue that they will be receiving. There's a few different reasons for this, including the fact that some of the districts that just went through the Prop 218 process and received a loan, it kind of bolstered their fund balance a little bit because we didn't use all of that loan, for example, in Rolling Hills. So we're using that in future years. We are in a transition period where we're calibrating the new reduced scopes of work in some of those districts with the pricing structures we have for our newer contractors. And then for the districts that were not part of the Prop 218 process, they have enough fund balance to sustain services in the meantime. Regardless of the specific circumstances of why we are using fund balances in 24-25, obviously spending more than the revenue received is not a sustainable practice. And so what that means is that we're going to start seeing some of the services being further reduced in future years beyond 24-25, and that's of course if no action is taken. I don't think that really comes as a surprise. It's not a surprise really for the districts that went through the Prop 218 vote last year and did not approve the increase. We foresaw that coming in the future years, but a couple of the districts that were not part of the Prop 218 process, namely Creekside at Cordelia, CBC, and Corporate Commons, those districts are now on our radar. We're going to want to start having those conversations with the Landscape Committee and the property owners in those districts to start talking about what the plan is moving forward. So all of this is more specifically stated in the staff report, and it's also shown in the budgets that are attached to the engineers' reports. Speaking of those budgets, as part of Public Works' commitment to ensuring that the districts remain solvent, ensuring that we're building in enough time to sort of rework tactics if we need to, speak with the property owners if we need to start talking about adjusting assessment rates, and then also just to make sure that we're fostering better transparency with our residents and property owners. We are now including a 5-year budget and fund balance forecast in the annual engineers' reports. And this is just to give everybody a better idea of what's up ahead. There are a lot of assumptions that are in these forecasts, including staff costs, utilities costs, things like that. But of course, the biggest expenses are the landscaping, maintenance, and repairs. So our landscape contracts are typically set up in 2-year intervals, so we can kind of have a stable budget for at least the 2 years. The years 3 through 5 in that forecast are based on our best estimates based on current conditions. And landscaping costs are based on market conditions. They're set by landscape contractors, not by the city. However, the city does do our due diligence to shop around. We solicit bids, we negotiate pricing. But right now, these estimates are based on they're 3% annual increases, but again, based on best estimates we know today. We will also revisit these forecasts on an annual basis each year.
Good.
One of the last things, oops, I went too far. There we go. Oh. Yeah, I'm sorry. I think I went one slide. Okay. This is the slide we should be on right now. I apologize. One of the last things I wanted to address before we ask council to take action is that the irrigation checks, maintenance, and repairs will now be performed by Public Works staff in most of the landscaping and lighting maintenance districts. Now, this is probably one of the most significant changes that these districts will be undergoing, and this change is one of the ways that the city is trying to keep costs down, especially for those districts with limited budgets, but it's also something that, unless we want to pay ultra premium prices, everything can come but at a certain price, right? We're sort of being nudged to this by the landscape contractors. In our previous contracts, we did have a lump sum line item which paid for the contractors to take care of all maintenance, all repairs, anything irrigation related, and if they happened to exceed that lump sum line item, they were basically left to eat the cost. However, having that blanket provision was a huge liability and risk for the contractors. What we heard from some of our longstanding partners like Dominguez and New Image is that they personally experienced losses. What we're hearing from our new contractors who are interested in doing business with the city is that that's just too much of a risk and liability that they're not willing to take on. Especially with our districts with aging infrastructure. Some of them are 20, 30 years old. So moving forward, those irrigation repairs and maintenance will start to be removed from the contracts. We do have a few contracts coming to you in July and August for the LLMDs. You'll be seeing that soon. However, the money that we're saving, that we're pulling out of those contracts will now be applied to the Public Works staff costs, the supplies and maintenance materials that we'll need to perform these irrigation repairs. Now, this change brings both advantages and disadvantages. A couple of the pros are that the city gets to have more control over and oversight over the work that's actually being done. There's also a little bit of cost savings I think we're going to see because we're not going to be charged those high markups on the materials and labor and so forth. However, on the flip side, the costs and demands on staff time can be somewhat unpredictable, so we're just going to need to be prepared to see those fluctuations from year to year in the budgets. And then there's also going to be an adjustment period, of course, as our staff gets used to the needs of each district individually. So that does wrap up my presentation. The last step is to hold the public hearing and adopt the resolutions for the fiscal year 24-25 assessments. Thank you.
I'm going to open the public hearing first. Nobody wants to speak? Nope, he's out of there, and then we'll bring it back. Any comments or questions? Yes, Councilwoman Williams.
I'm prepared to say yes to this, but my question is, again, surrounding the Landscape Committee, how do they influence this report at all?
Unfortunately, Councilmember Williams, we were not able to meet with the Landscape Committee since our last council meeting here. We are scheduled to meet with the Landscape Committee quarterly. At first, we were meeting, I think, once a month when we first were getting started and getting everybody familiar. We were supposed to meet with them in April. Unfortunately, we didn't have a quorum at the April meeting, so we're meeting with them on July 18th, I believe, is our next meeting with them, 18th or 17th. So they did not have any influence in this report or the budgets or the scopes of work necessarily that we are going to be proposing to council for the new contracts in July and August. However, several of those members do have, individual conversations with, like, our landscape manager, for example, to kind of give him ideas or express concerns, which of course are considered when we're building these contracts and the budgets.
And I keep asking because I'm concerned.
Of course.
If this committee makes sense and if they're influencing what they should.
If you're dissolving it, I'll second that.
Well, maybe we'll have to bring that back. Seriously.
Yeah, I think we should. I think we should discuss it.
Second.
Okay, we'll bring it back. Okay, there, Madam Vice Mayor.
Super quick question. Just a point of clarification. So Rancho Solano is not on this list because their current fund balances are sufficient not to warrant a levy at this time?
No, we are levying for Rancho Solano. We're just not using.
Are they on this list?
I'm sorry, which list?
Smith Ranch.
Oh, Smith Ranch. Yes, we are levying max rates for that district to support the operations and maintenance in fiscal year 24-25. Is that the, I'm sorry, is that the,
Understood.
am I answering that?
Thank you.
Okay.
Regarding land scope.
All right,
Okay.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, before we close, as we close, as I said, I want to honor Chick Lanza. His name was Richard at birth, but everybody called him Chick. And Wooden Valley Winery is now in its 86th year of making wine in Susan Valley. It was Chick's dad and mom who started it along with a partner, and then they bought it out. But the bottom line is it was Chick who brought it and Susan Valley to where, sorry about that, to where it is now as far as a wine country. Really amazing people. He pushed and up at the state was able to get Susan Valley as only the second viticulture area recognized in this state. And so Susan Valley became recognized on December 27th, 1982, due to his work and others in the area, but he was a lot. He always thought that Susan Valley would be a really recognized wine region, and he always believed that, no matter how things went up and down, up and down. When he first was there, it was mostly fruit, other fruit besides grapes, and they always had the grapes. They were the grape guys. So anyway, and then he got to see Camus come on and things light on fire before he went home to God. And so it's very special. He personally was special to our family. My husband and I, we grew up with his 4 sons. And when Ken was little, his house caught on fire. And in the barn, some lambs knocked something over and started a fire. And it was Chick who was the first one on the scene and saved the house. The barn did burn down, but Chick had everybody leave, because this is the kind of person he was, and said, you need to leave and go down to the road and get out of here. And there was a propane tank, and it started hissing, and he said, it's time for us all to leave. And so he got them all out of there before a huge explosion and saved them. And so, I think of him as saving my husband's life. I would have never had a husband. And the family, the Lonzos also, Chick named their son Ken after my husband, Ken. And so we have a lot of connections, and everybody knows Chick or Woodin Valley Winery, and so we honor him tonight as we close the meeting. Thank you guys for letting me do that.